Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography, where old friends, fans come together to BS, argue, occasionally agree, and discuss a musical artist. This week's musical artist is Devo. It was brought to you by our Patreon member, Yarbles, a.k.a. Sofa King, a.k.a. Prince.
AKA not here.
A.k.a. absent.
We might start the shit talking now.
Yeah, we said album 4, but we're at album 3 here. We took a big drinking break in between the recordings. Also with me is Bill.
Red Vines or Twizzlers?
I'm Jason. That's Tim. You guys
Before
know
the
us.
cream sits out too long.
We're talking freedom of choice. I mean, I can start this one. Girl You Want. Best opening so far. I mean, this song was a classic. Like, it's still top tier. I was curious. Bill, you've never heard Girl You Want?
No.
That's crazy.
Was I supposed to?
I lost faith in the youth of America.
Hey, the Wipers, Youth of America. Have you heard that one?
That's a good one, too. You know, we're the kids of America. Nowadays, I don't think they're the kids of America.
Whoa.
It's not right. It's good, but it's way too low. Just ignore when I say that because I fix this issue later. When Whip It came on right after, it was much louder. Yeah, I was having the version I listened to sounded like shit, and I switched over
Was
to
it digital? Did you listen to a digital version?
the one they have on Spotify, the original version. So then I saw they had a 2009 remaster, and it sounded so much better. Whip It, I'm a fan of Roy Orbison. It's stupid, so damn stupid. It's a fucking classic. Snowball, really cool instrumentally and lyrically. I love the metaphors, that last verse. It's a damn good love song. Ton of Love. It's a good song. It's a good song. Freedom of Choice, it's just badass. Gates of Steel, same thing, just badass. That riff, though, really familiar. I couldn't place it. Cold War, go, fight, punch your way to happiness. That's a classic. Top song contender. Don't You Know, I don't have any notes for, but, I mean, Freedom of Choice. That's Pep. This sounds like it would have been a hit single, like it was written to be a hit single. It's a great song. I don't have notes for Ballroom. Planet Earth, it's just an ode to Planet Earth. I think it's the best closer so far. I mean, Freedom of Choice is like, it's freedom of choice. That's my notes.
No, I can follow that one up. So I'll go through this one kind of briefly here. Girl You Want, probably their best opener for me so far. And I'll quickly accelerate here. Planet Earth for me also is probably the best closer so far. I thought the lyrics of that one were really cool. Some of it kind of hit home, just like where we're at in 2025. That being said, in between you have Whip It, which is for me the song that's stood the test of time. And I'll also say for me is also the song that has gotten parodied and played to goddamn death at this point. Which
But
is
if it comes on, you ain't skipping it.
Yeah, and yet I could still listen to it every time.
Yeah, you ain't skipping it.
Yeah.
See, actually, for
Singing
me, I would
along.
skip. I kind of skip it actually at
Step
this
on a
point in my
crack,
life.
break your mama's back. It's so good.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I wish it hadn't gotten played as much as it did because it's a great song. It's just
It
the amount of times
it
I've
doesn't
heard
make
and
sense.
let's be honest. If anybody's ever heard anything by Devo, it's Whip It.
It's Whip It. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is your entry point here.
Which means I'll say this: Whip It. It's definitely not the best song on the album.
Right.
Oh well, yeah, no, not at all.
Singer.
I granted, this could just be the anti-nostalgia kicking in here, but I would say it's in contention for the low point of the album, actually, for me. Um,
Well, and how many times can you say that about the single? That used to be a thing. Like, yeah, the album's great except for the single.
Yeah.
Say that about the last Van Halen album. You could say that about a couple Skid Row albums. You could say that about like all kinds of crazy shit.
very true. I'll definitely, yeah.
Faith No More. Faith No More falls into that category. They're very much like Devo, where you know one song and
Yep.
maybe you've heard two or three others,
But
And they're not.
they are
They
nothing. Yeah.
they
but
We
don't
they're
care a
have the
not what
lot.
you
candle to
think.
the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
Doesn't touch was a.
Um, I mean, on that note, though, I mean, I'll briefly go through. I mean, Ton of Love I thought was all right. Was probably one of my high points between that and That's Pep. Um, maybe Mr. B's Ballroom would be my other kind of like honorable mention top song. But I kind of struggled on this one a little bit because it was difficult for me. Like if I was the first time through when I was listening to these songs, I struggled to figure out like obviously the song was stop and go. But like if I walked out of the room for 10 seconds and the song happened to change and then I came back, I didn't realize the song changed to a different song. Um like this one a lot of the songs sounded, I mean it's the same band, I get all that. Like they sounded similar to the point I struggled differentiation until I actually sat down with the song in front of me and everything and I was, going through and taking, you know, notes and whatnot and trying to figure out what was what and going through here.
What in tarnation was going on with this record?
Well,
Yeah, I
that's
just think
actually going to
it
lead
was
that's going to
yeah,
lead me into my little segment here real quick, easily. If you're good, if you got more to say though, please do.
no, that's it was good, but the issue my main complaint is I had issues differentiating.
Sure. And I get that because, as I said in my little personal journey, it's been taking me years to get into this discography. You really kind of got to pick and choose the songs that are really speaking to you. Um, but the thing that I have learned in my, you know, musical journey is that those are the bands you really got to put the time and effort into. Because it's like, okay, this is catchy enough where I don't mind hearing it again, but it's not quite great enough that I don't understand it. Obviously repeated listens, drive
No,
around, live with it. And this is a band that, you know, they're- you know, we're only on album what, three? Um, there's going to be a couple albums in this discography I hadn't heard before going into this. And this is a band I've actively been pursuing. So I totally get where it all kind of sounds the same. Because, ear fatigue is a real thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, these songs are just bangers. And when you look at the concept, like stylistically, yeah, you'd call it new wave, you call it synth pop or whatever. But there's such an underlying punk rockness to this that is just undeniable. And it's interesting because when that's my first thought, my second thought is there's such a popness to this that should just be like universal to everybody.
I mean, that's my point. Like, That's Pep sounds like a pop song that could have been worked in the 80s on the radio. Whereas Whip
Right.
It, if you think about it, Whip It is not a good single. Like, it's not a song you would typically think of as being a single. But
Well, that was the beauty of MTV in the 80s too, where you can have just a goofy enough video.
oh, that video was
It's
great.
catchy,
Fucking
it's
video was
goofy,
great.
it's
And I
so
mean, we
catchy
all
and
love
goofy can
Weird
work.
Al here. Is Dare to Be Stupid not just a giant Devo
Yeah,
ripoff?
yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
a top song contender.
that's I mean that's
Um,
yeah.
I said it before. This is the sound of the 80s. And here they are, 1980. Like we just stamped the decade.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's true. I didn't even think this came out in 1980.
This came out in
Yeah,
1980
I mean that's the fucking 80s right here.
and they stamped the decade.
Girl You Want.
And nostalgia aside, I was a kid in the 80s. I love the 80s. You can point to a number of like really innovative musical styles that happened in the 80s.
Oh yeah, like goth, like the shit that
Hip
like the
hop,
Cure, hip
punk,
hop, all
yeah,
of it. Yeah,
thrash metal.
a lot of
Like
shit
there's
was born
all
out of the
kinds of
80s.
crazy stuff. All kinds of crazy stuff. What like London dance pop, like house music, techno shit, rock set.
Yep.
Devo stamped the decade with this album.
Oh, when we do the 80s, this we will be talking about this for the grinder. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's one of
Oh
those
yeah. I mean,
albums.
80 is such a tough year.
But I
80
was
is
saying, like,
such a
is
tough
this
year.
even going to make the top 10 though? Like, just thinking
It
about
makes
all that,
It makes
like
the top
everything that
10.
came into
it
80.
tough year.
Yeah.
But this belongs in the conversation. And if one of us doesn't have this on the list, at least,
What are we doing here?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like, I
I
don't know. I
mean,
was lucky enough to find an old school copy, OG mix. Um, cheap copy. It's not in the best shape, but it sounds amazing. Um, I don't even know if we've talked about it. Girl You Want, Snowball, Freedom of Choice, Gates of Steel. These are all like top tier songs. Um, and the rest of the album just falls right into line too. It's a fucking fun album. Fun album.
I think we about to have a great divide here. I think. Well, it's not my turn to guess, so I don't have to think. But I'm just saying, I think we're gonna have some
Who has to
divides
think?
here.
Who
You
has to
do.
think?
You got
Oh,
the
I
tie.
do? Well, are both of you guys putting it at number 2 then?
You'd be right for me.
You're incorrect for me.
Okay, but I'm right for Bill. Okay. So Jason, you're putting it at number 1.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm putting it at number 1 as well.
Tim and I have never gone 3 for
Listen,
3.
this is the most like.
Yeah, this
This
is
is the most
weird.
you've ever
This,
matched.
this is some Devo shit here.
Tell
This
you,
is where
man,
we say we don't know each other's picks.
This is one of the bands. This is one of the bands that everybody should just love.
Yeah. We're an unscripted show. We don't know each other's picks. So,
Oh,
That's
we
true.
absolutely do
Very
not.
true.
I try to fish, I'll
And Bill's just out here on fucking random street.
Which
right?
is
That's such a weird. I can't picture that. Your rankings
It's
hurt my
Devo.
head. But
just wait till we do the next one.
oh yeah, we got one. We're doing New Traditionalist next. Stick around for that. As always, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We really need all the help we can get. Leave us a comment down below with your rankings. Shout out to our Patreon members. And be safe and make good decisions.
Into shape, shape it up, get straight, go forward, move ahead.
And then you go a little woo, and then a little whoop, 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 and then it's all, and then you're ready to go again.